This weekend I am going to be taking part in Dewey's 24-hour readathon, which is a biannual readathon which has been running, I think, for about 15 years at least. I can't remember the exact year it started. I feel like it might have been 2007. It was a readathon that started with a woman called Dewey, who is a book blogger, and she ran a couple of them, and then unfortunately she passed away, and then other book bloggers kind of took over and carried on the readathon for her legacy. I love this readathon. I take part in it every single year. I try to take part in it every single time that it happens. It's every April and every October. Over the past few years there haven't been as many community events as there used to be, but I am trying my best to keep some going because I really do love this readathon. It's excellent for bringing the community together, for making friends, and for really motivating you to read as well. Today I wanted to share my potential TBR with you, and I also wanted to let you know that I will be hosting 3 lots of reading sprints over the weekend. The first one is going to be a kickoff sprint, which is starting, well, the live stream is starting at 12:30, just before the readathon starts, which is 1 p.m. in the UK. That will last for a few hours, and then I'm going to have a break, and then I'll be back again for some more evening sprints, or evening in the UK. I'm hoping to sleep because otherwise I will be exhausted, and then I will be back again for the last few hours of the 24-hour readathon, so Sunday morning my time. So hopefully you guys can join me for those. Now let's get on with my potential TBR. I've gone for kind of a little bit of most genres. There are a few that I've left out because I'm not reading a massive fantasy book for Dewey's 24-hour readathon. I wouldn't be able to get through it. What I have done is I've picked out some thrillers, some sci-fi, horror, dystopian, novellas, romances, just to try and give myself some options. I always try to mood read for this readathon because having a strict TBR just does not work. You cannot force yourself, if you're doing a 24-hour readathon, to read set books in those 24 hours unless you're very motivated and like a challenge, which I'm not. Reading for 24 hours or so is enough of a challenge for me. So I think my goal for the readathon is going to try to get to about 1,000 pages. If I don't hit it, that's fine. I often don't, but it's just kind of a good goal to aim towards. So let me show you the 8 books that I have picked out. We'll see what happens in the sprints, and in my wrap up at the end of April we'll see what I've done, what I actually ended up reading. So first of all, a thriller book that I picked up is Hostage by Claire Mackintosh. It's got dirt on the cover, that's good. So this one is an adult thriller book, and it's set on an aeroplane. I don't have any flights coming up anytime soon, not until December, so I think this is going to be safe for me to read. It says here that the atmosphere on board the first non-stop flight from London to Sydney is electric. Okay, so I am going to Sydney in December, and I'm half thinking maybe I could just save this until then, but then I don't want to scare myself, so I'm going to keep it on this TBR. It says, celebrities are rumoured to be among the passengers in business class, and the world is watching the landmark journey. Flight attendant Mina is trying to focus on the passengers instead of her troubled 5-year-old daughter back at home, or the cataclysmic problems in her marriage. But soon after the plane takes off, Mina receives a chilling anonymous note. Someone wants to make sure the plane never reaches its destination. I read a similar sounding book by, I think her name is TJ Newman, who was a flight attendant. That book was called Falling, and I really enjoyed that one. So I think I really do quite like aeroplane thrillers, if that's like a subgenre maybe. So I've put this on the TBR. It should be a very fast-paced read. I did see, however, that quite a lot of this book is written in italics. It's from the point of view of someone else, like different passengers, and I really hate it when books do that. It's a pet peeve of mine. I don't think they need to put everything in italics. I think if you're trying to show this from a different point of view, just put like a header like they have here, and then put it in normal text, because this is honestly grating for me to read. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one actually, and I'm kind of half tempted to start it now, so that's a really good sign. I've also picked out The Deep, which is a very short novella about mermaids. I don't know if it's kind of like a horror sort of situation. I'm not really sure what the genre is. It may just be more of like a fantasy novella perhaps. So I'm looking forward to trying this one. I've had my eye on it for a while, and I found it in a charity shop recently, so glad that I picked that up. A romance book that I've picked up is Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. I actually found this one in the works recently for £2.50, which I'm very pleased about. This is the 3rd book in this series, whatever the series is called, I cannot remember. It starts with Delilah Green Doesn't Care, and then there's Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail, and then this 3rd book is Iris Kelly, who's another friend in the friendship group. I really wanted to finish off this series sometime this year, so maybe this will be a really good opportunity to do so, because it's a very fast read. I already know it's going to be. I flew through the first 2 books, and I'm very much looking forward to it, so that's why this one is on my potential TBR. Another romance book that I picked out is Honey and Spice. I'm not really sure what this one is about and what the tropes kind of are, but I know that the main character runs a radio show of some sort. It says here that it's the main character's mission to protect her listeners from heartbreak, which puts the college's newest student, handsome player Malachi, at the top of her hit list. Something about summer internship, sweet and spicy. Will she find it in her to resist? I think this could be really fast paced, and I've heard really good things about it as well. Everyone seems to have enjoyed this, so I'm looking forward to reading it. To switch things up a little bit, I've picked out Unholy by Neil Schusterman. This will be a reread for me, so it's not really knocking anything off my physical TBR, but that's fine by me. This is the second book in the Unwind dystology, I think they're calling it. It's like a quartet. I reread the first book in this series last week, and I really enjoyed my reread. So I'm looking forward to picking this one up again. I've read books 1, 2, and 3 in this series, and I do have book 3 back there as well. So if I decide to, I could potentially pick up book 3 straight away and just do a straight marathon, and then finally pick up book 4. It depends how I'm feeling, but I am looking forward to this one because I remember really loving it more than the first book, actually. If you don't know what this is about, basically it's set in a dystopian society where abortion has been banned. To sort of appease both sides, I guess, of the argument, humanity came up with something called unwinding, which basically meant that between the ages of, I think, 12 and 17, the parents or guardians of the child can choose to have them unwound. So that means that their body parts are basically taken apart and distributed, given out to people. Some of those people may well be in need of new organs, for example, and some of them may just want it for aesthetic reasons. And that's kind of replaced pre-birth abortion. It's a very difficult series to read. It's very upsetting. I'll talk about this more in my wrap up, but there was a scene in the first book that I had honestly forgotten. It was one of the most disturbing scenes that I have ever read. It's so good. Neil Schusterman is very good at tackling topics like this and kind of imagining how things could be if certain laws were to pass, or if humanity, like for example in Scythe, they conquered death, and what kind of impact would that have on society. He's very good at discussing those things, and so I'm expecting this to be really fast paced, if not maybe a bit harrowing. So we'll see if I actually want to pick it up for the readathon. I also picked up Loath to Love You by Ali Hazelwood. This is a collection of her 3 short stories, and I don't know if I'm going to read this because I keep trying to pick this up and it just keeps not happening. I do think I'm going to enjoy it because I really like her writing, but just I don't love short stories, as in like short story collections. So maybe I'll just read one of these and see how it goes so it doesn't become too repetitive, and then I can count it as like separate books. So yeah, we'll see. This is a romance short story collection. Another romance book that I have picked up kind of on a whim is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. Picked this one up from the works for £3. So the main character, it says, is a witch, and she really wants to bake bread instead of brewing potions. A spell goes very wrong and she stares down a demon who she has accidentally summoned for a soul bargain. The demon, called Osroth, is a legend among his kind, but ever since the bargain went awry, he's been a laughing stock. Yeah, I think it's meant to be like a romantic comedy sort of thing. I'm looking forward to reading this one. And then the final book I picked up is another thriller book. It's one that I've had my eye on for quite a while, and that is The Hunting Wives. I am fully expecting this to be very fast paced. The authors on the front are saying it's a bit like Big Little Lies, The Guest List, and Mean Girls. I really enjoy all of those things. Samantha Downing says that it's impossible to put down, so I think this is going to be a good choice for the 24-hour readathon. It should be really fast paced. I kind of want to read it right now, so maybe by the time you're seeing this video I will have already read it, but then I'll just pick out something else because I have a lot of thrillers and other books on my shelf, so not the end of the world if I do get to this. So it just means that I'm excited for the books that I'm planning to read. So those are my plans for Dewey's 24-hour readathon. Let me know if you'll be joining in. If you are unsure, then just give it a go for a couple of hours. You don't need to commit to the full 24-hour readathon. Of course, you're free to do whatever you like. Some people do tend to start a bit early as well if they want a little bit more time, because it starts at a bit of an awkward time for the States on the western side, and also maybe for Australians. Here in the UK it starts at 1 PM, so that's a really good time to start readathon. I can get all my stuff done on Saturday morning that I need to do for the weekend, and then I can just do nothing for the rest of the weekend, and that's such a good feeling. Yeah, jump into some sprints if you like. I don't know if anyone else is doing any sprints, but I might try to pop onto some of those if anyone's hosting them while I'm not sprinting. And yeah, it should be a good time. Hopefully everyone is really enthusiastic and should be good. So I'm really looking forward to it. Let me know if you have read any of these books, if you'd recommend them, if they're good choices for the readathon, or let me know if there's anything else that you think I should read. I am not reading massive fantasy books. Like, I'm looking at Brandon Sanderson here and I'm just like, no, I'm not doing it. These would all be rereads for me, but even so, it would take me much longer than 24 hours to read, for example, Words of Radiance. I think I could do The Final Empire because I did do that in less than a day before. Anything else, I just, no, absolutely not. Anyway, thank you for watching and I'll speak to you all in the next video. Bye.